All right. There's fire on the mountain in Plateau State, and people are really running and angry. A member of the House of Representatives, Solomon Maren, said more than 100 persons have been killed by terrorists in Plateau State within the last 2 days. Maren, who represent Mangu, Bokkos federal constituency in the north-central state, said the attackers also burnt houses, farms, and stored agricultural inputs, adding that the latest attacks took the death toll to 200 in the last 4 months. Let's share the updates on the killings with you.
Tension, fear, and painful memories are what locals in the Mangu Council area and environs are passing through at the moment. It is now day 5 since the area was invaded, and attacks by the perpetrators have continued unabated despite attempts to curtail it. So far, about 30 communities have been attacked since the Tuesday's midnight invasion, with more than 150 lives lost and about 2,000 houses and several items burned or destroyed, while others were ransacked by the invaders. Several temporary internally displaced camps have been put in place by the Mangu Development Association to help and support the displaced victims who register on daily basis. This is the total number of displaced victims brought to the MDA temporary IDP. We are this temporary internally displaced camp here in Mangu town, where the caregivers say the population is too many for them to handle at the moment. 4 of the displaced victims seeking refuge died as a result of trauma and shock due to what they experienced during the invasion.
We're sure of 4 persons that died because of the shock of that incident that happened in their various communities.
She's my grandmother. I'm her grandchild. She was moved from Mirana village down here because of tension over there. She came here too. There's tension here. She was hearing gunshots everywhere. So because of the shock, she passed on.
The presence of the federal, state and local government is yet to be felt following this 5-day of attack in communities across Mangu Council area. The victims are calling for well-to-do Nigerians to come to their aid by way of providing relief items to them. From Joshua, TVC News, Mangu.
Are we at war? Because I don't understand, within the territory of our country, there's a place in Plateau State that's 100 people. In the last 4 days, talking about 200 people.
In 48 hours, they killed, I think, about 120. And they are saying that the attacks in the area in the last 4 months is more than 200. On February 9, they killed people in separate attacks in that same area. Then on the 27th of April, they also killed 6 people. You know, these are, according to the residents, it is criminal headsmen who are behind these killings. And sometimes they use mercenaries to attack a community, just kill people and go. Human life is too cheap in our country. We can't continue like this. You can't kill 10 Americans anywhere, and it will even be a global problem. Everybody, you saw when it happened in France, some hypocritical Nigerians were even, they were using the flag of France as their DP. But in their country, every day, far more people get killed, and it doesn't shock people anymore.
No, it's not.
You will see, if you see today's papers now,
it's nowhere in the...
it's not, they are not even bothered. It's politics that people are talking about, 3-horse race and all that. You know, they're talking about National Assembly positions.
Can you imagine?
So,
that's something like this is happening within our territory.
How did we get to the point where more than 100 people will be killed in a matter of 48 hours. And it has not stirred national outrage. I never knew that Nigeria could get this bad. That people, and you know, as they are killing them in Plateau, they are killing people in Benue. They are killing people in Benue. As they are killing them in Benue, they are killing them in Nasarawa. As they are killing them in Nasarawa, they are killing people in Taraba. All of these places that I've mentioned, in the last 2 months, there have been attacks on people to the point that the death toll must be in excess of 600 in those places. And the fact that we just seem powerless is what bothers me. How can we be powerless about this kind of situation? We have security people. Remember the way the Sultan spoke. Before the Sultan could criticize the armed forces that they are not doing enough, that sometimes it seems like they are even mocking the dead, that they show up long after the killers have left. That is what usually happens. For a retired
colonel,
yes, to say that, you know, there's a spirit they call in the armed forces. For him to come out, because I've never seen where he criticized the military like that.
Hardly.
For someone like that to come out and speak in that manner,
paint.
It shows that he's just disillusioned, he's angry. We can't continue like this. We've got to revamp our security. The incoming administration must find the right strategy. I'm telling you, Ayo, one of the ways by which Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be judged is how he handles security in our country.
Yes. Yeah.
If he gets a good
security and economy,
if he gets a good hang on this, because even this is not, as long as they are killing people like this, there's no way the economy will not suffer.
Yeah.
Agriculture contributes far more to our GDP than telecoms and the rest.
Yeah.
So the bulk of what the people do is agriculture, and many of them cannot access their farms. Even the Sultan was saying it that some deliberately will leave agricultural inputs at home, so that when these guys come, you just give them what you've harvested, so that they don't kill people. How do you work for a whole year, and then what you harvested, you just willfully give bandits to take away?
And this thing will happen. You will have bandits maybe in their hundreds on Okada, and they will travel several kilometers. They will go across, from where, maybe outside the country. No radar will detect them. Nothing will detect their movements, and they will operate for several hours unchallenged.
I think the problem is
and escape.
I think the problem is that we've taken our eyes off the ball. If you remember, this S-men was a major problem at the time. Then the government was able to break it down considerably. It seems we have moved our eyes off the ball. And while we concentrated on other things, election, transition, and other things, that problem has resurfaced, and nobody is taking notice of it. Because what is happening now used to happen regularly within that axis, Nasarawa, Plateau, Benue. You remember the farmers, herdsmen, and all that?
Yes.
And then government was able to handle it in a way that it reduced that kind of tension within those areas. But we have moved our eyes off the ball, and nobody is bothering about that. So the problem has resurfaced. And I agree with Jide that the major problem that we have right now is insecurity. And because of the insecurity, a lot of things have been affected, especially in the agricultural sector and in another sector. Look at our railway that we use a lot of money to set up loans from China. They are not even generating enough money to pay back the loan, because there have been security challenges within the different corridors of those railway routes, and it's affecting everybody. So the incoming government has its work cut out. I believe that this government has not done well when it comes to security situation, despite the fact that we have the general as the president. Because I don't think, because I believe that our armed forces are very competent. And this government has also done a lot to harm them. So there's no excuse for them not to be able to do what is expected of them. But it seems that when they solve a problem, or when they seem to have upper hand, they slow down and allow those people to gain back. Whether it is bandits, whether it is S-men, whether it's terrorists, at every point in time, at one time, they will seem to be on top, and then we won't hear much about those people. Then eventually, they will come back again, and until there's an outrage, then they will try to go again and try to solve the problem. Because for us to allow people to die regularly like that within that axis, and nobody cares, should not be like that, because the primary duty of government is protection of lives and property. So if government doesn't do that, I've been issued, the government has failed, it's the people.
Today, what will make our security formation or our security people, because I don't know particularly how they gather intelligence, how they monitor intelligence, or how they mount their surveillance, what will make these terrorists to attack these villages for hours? And they move in droves. Some of them even abduct people. They kidnap people back to their hideouts. Unchallenged. Hours.
Well, in 12 years, we have lost 99,083 people. Not to warfare. 99,083 people killed in 12 years. Between 2019 and May 2023, we lost 35,800 people. A country that is not at war. It means that something is really wrong. These guys continue to exploit our weaknesses. Those communities, they have bad roads leading to them. So sometimes even when they alert the armed forces, before they get there, these guys have finished what they are doing. And they like operating at midnight, knowing that at midnight it will be difficult for people to get help.
Right.
And they always target women and children. That's what they do. This is the way cowards behave. You will never hear that they attacked an urban center. It is those remote communities that they always go to, just go and kill people. And that was why that emir, remember that emir from Taraba, who said, you have bad eggs amongst you, we gave you land, because you are raping our women, you are abducting our people. If you don't identify all those bad eggs, we are going to kill all of you. They surrendered bad eggs, took them to the police headquarters. That was an emir that stood up and said, enough is enough. So we've got to tell these people, enough is enough. We can't continue to be losing our people in this manner. And security has to be beefed up. People remember last week when we were discussing Kebbi, we were discussing death.
Yes, Kebbi.
The man said, our soldiers from Kebbi State, they are among the highest in Nigeria. In fact, the Zulu people are known to be warriors. There is no ethnic group that I know in the armed forces from northern Nigeria like like those ones from Kebbi, from Zulu. Remember the Bameyi brothers? That's why they came from. He said, why don't you just draft our own people? Because we don't have enough security in those communities. Draft our people to come and protect our people. There will be enough to protect our people because they are tired. How many did he say these people have killed in the last few years? I was talking about 5,000 plus.
Yes, it has to do with the security architecture. It's not possible. I concede that it's not possible for the military to be everywhere, or police to be everywhere. But if you have an architecture, you must be able to have vigilante groups in different communities that will be under a central police unit that will supervise those vigilante groups, that will be able to develop, to be able to defend these communities. The major problem with these communities is that they are vulnerable, help doesn't come on time, and then the nearest police post or unit to them is far that they won't be able to protect them. So the only way we can solve that problem is to have vigilante groups, make of men within those communities, to serve as the first set of defense.
We don't harm the vigilantes sufficiently.
We have to harm them.
Killing them the way they
No, we have to harm them. we have to harm them.
Kill more than 40 of them.
So this centralized form of policing
Cannot solve the
it's not
problem.
working.
It's clearly
It
not.
cannot work.
Nigeria has developed beyond that.
Yes, it cannot work. Because when we look at our problems, it cannot work. In fact, that is part of the reasons why they don't have intelligence reports. And I'll give you an example. There was a time there was one major problem from my hometown. I'm from Ikorodu. There was a time there was a major problem there. The so-called Bado boys. You understand? And it became an issue. And the police could not solve the problem. But the commissioner at that time, Edgar, was able to meet with OPC.
Yes.
You understand? Had a meeting with them. Because these people, members of OPC, because they live within that community, they were able to solve that problem. Because every crime is local. Every crime is local. There will be people within that community. They know those who are doing those things within any community. So that's why we always call for state police and all that. And they don't want to agree. But if you don't want to do it now, you must be able to have vigilante groups in each of these places. And they must be armed to be able to do those, to be able to defend that community.